All right. Hey, everyone. How are you all doing? Welcome to the Heroes World podcast.
Hello.
We are social distancing, so we are going to record from our various homes.
Except
I'm
Stu, he's at the shop.
I'm at an undisclosed location. So, of course, I'm here with John and Andre.
Hello.
So we are here to share some thoughts based on what's happening around us right now. So, as always, you can find out more about the Heroes World from the website, the Facebook group, and the various social media channels, which Andre and John will go into at the end. But we're going to first start off with, what's happening right now. So, getting perspective for both John and Andre to find out how things are going from an industry standpoint. John, Andre, what's going on?
We're closed. There's no other ways about it. A lot of places that we get support from, comics and all that kind of stuff, are also closed. So there's not much news on that. We're trying, web things and deliveries and shipping and curbside pickup when we can. But yeah, it's different.
Yeah, it's a whole new world. It's a whole new world for us right now, and not something that we are used to. We've built our store as the store experience, and we can't run it.
We're missing everybody. We're missing everybody.
We totally miss everybody. I didn't realize how much I love talking to all the different customers about all the range of stuff, not just my comic fans and stuff, the board game guys, the card guys, of course the miniature guys, like our Warhammer guys, our Star Wars guys, our X-Wing guys, like just talking shop was such a big
seeing
part.
People,
such a big part. Yeah, seeing people. Yeah. And it's hard right now because, we're trying to adapt, but man, I got to tell you, it's very difficult. And also, everything's up in the air. By now, everybody who's a comic fan should know that Diamond shut down, and that's where we get the bulk of our comic-related stuff. So we haven't had new product, even if we were open. And we understand why they're closed. And like John said, a lot of other distributors are closed as well. But it's just, for a business that's supposed to run on getting new product in and having people excited to be in there every week, this is it's a game changer. And it's really it's not good.
You talk
it's rough.
about,
everybody's got it rough. We're not saying we got it rougher than anybody else, but it's a tough time for everybody.
Yeah.
You talked about it a little bit, Andre. Your store has so much diversity when it comes to board games and miniatures and comic books. You guys kind of, merchandise is kind of all over the place when in terms of stuff you guys have. But speaking with, I guess, have you connected with anyone else in the industry that, maybe specialize more in comic books or board games or whatnot? Do you know how anyone else is doing from that standpoint? How are they faring in this time?
Well, I'm in contact with a couple people that I'm, close with in the industry. People that I've known for longer than I've had the store. People that are, friends that I might not see
artists
all the time.
Artists,
creators, and so from that standpoint, everybody's in the same boat, business wise. Unless they had an up and fully running website, they are not they're not doing good. Comic stores and game stores are social hubs for people to come in. But on the good front, like John mentioned, we've had we're blessed. We've had some people reach out to us that want to support us, like artists and stuff, and it's nice to see that. It's just a matter of now we got to see what's the best way they can support us and stuff. And of course, we've got people reaching out through our Facebook page and stuff. And I got to say, I'm blessed and fortunate to have some great friends. People that I haven't seen since like high school. So that's going back, and they've seen my Facebook posts, and they've got me to ship all across Canada and some into the States. And thank you. Every
Heroes World fam.
every bit helps, but I think every business is in the same position if you're non-essential. So like I feel for the restaurant business, you know, I feel for those artists and inkers and letterers and colorists that there's no comics being produced now, you know, like they're, you know, if you're working for one of the big companies, that project might have been put on hold. So it's that whole like flow chart I talked about in the video. It's like, you know, so everybody's in the same way. So I guess all we can do is hope that this doesn't last much longer, or there's some type of plan and things can kind of open up a little bit with some really good measures, you know, because I think we're coming up on about a month now. Like I think we shut down following the government's mandate. That was March 17th or something like that, or 14th, and it's April 18th. So it's been at least 30 days of this, right? So
You talked about those videos. Where can people find those videos, Andre, that you spoke of?
oh, on our Facebook page. So it's if you do a search for Heroes World Online, you'll see our main Facebook page, and I'm calling it Heroes World Shop Talk. You know, like Stu said, we're social distancing. I'm in my fortress of solitude. We're doing the videos from our homes and just trying to, you know, talk about fun stuff and try and keep people positive.
We'll try and get those on YouTube too.
Yeah, we're going to try
YouTube,
to get things back and running. We are working on a website, you know, and I guess maybe going forward, we will realize that we can be in more than just the Markham space, because this has shown to us that we have people from all over on our Facebook page and stuff. And maybe as they can't come in, maybe we should have been doing this more often. Like we've talked about doing more podcasts and stuff. So I guess there is going to be some positive coming out of this, you know, but like, yeah, let's hopefully everybody gets back to work and a new normal that is better than what was previous.
Mm-hmm. What have you heard, John? Andre has kind of a lot of extensive network, but what are your thoughts and feelings so far, John?
It's just different. It's crazy. You never would have thought something like this would happen in our lifetime. If you had something on your insurance policy that was like, you know, the plague or some crazy stipulation, you would have been like, I can get out of here, whatever. And then this just, boom. But yeah, like there's a, you know, like families are getting to spend a little more time together. That's good. You know, like our family's really coming through. The concern and support and love from, you know, the Heroes World family. I don't even know if I can call them customers. They feel like family to us now.
Yeah, definitely.
That have been supporting us and things like that. And yeah, there's been a bunch of positive stuff too. So, you know, look at this technology now. We're having Zoom meetings when we have trouble getting together for podcasts. So, you know, like Andre said, you know, I think we can make it.
You talked a little bit about the artists, Andre. So a lot of them are just kind of chilling, waiting for stuff to happen.
Yeah, I think you know, there's Marvel unfortunately announced that a third of their titles are put on hiatus. So it's a lot of creative teams not getting work and stuff. I think, you know, if an artist had a gig already, maybe they finished that up. But I know it was Aspen Studio.
It's hard, yeah. That's why sometimes when books are late, people are like, why didn't they get all the books done and then release them? I think there's a way that they pay them per issue coming out. They can't afford to pay for a 6-issue run.
Yeah.
So artists get paid per issue that comes out, and it has to trickle down. We got to pay for the books and so on and so on. Sorry, Andre.
Yeah, no, it's all good. So I think Aspen Studios and I think a couple others, they put the order was pencils down, as they say. So if you're writing books or you're drawing books, you know, right now you got to stop. And I think, you know, while the industry is strong, there's sectors of the industry that's strong. I think that people don't realize that it's still that thing of, you know, you have to get paid. You know, there's got to be that steady stream of income coming in to cover the cost of the next thing. Like, you know, my love in comics is I love the single issue, right? Like month to month, or if it comes out every couple of weeks, you know. And when companies are allowed to sell those single issues, or not allowed, but when they do sell those single issues help pay for the trade paperback. Like there's a lot of talk in this industry over several years that, oh, we should only have trade paperbacks only. And I'm like, then they don't make money, because all of a sudden they got to pay that artist writer for a 60-page book that's going to take them a couple months to do. And they got to pay for that all at once with no thing. And what if that thing doesn't sell? They know that a book is going to sell because they've sold X number of issues on a monthly basis, and they've built up buzz, and they've built up, kind of a demand. So that if there's a book that didn't do well, maybe they don't put it into trade paperback, right? It's the same thing, so, without any way for them to know who's going to be around to buy what. And I got to say, let's give props to the majority of the companies for not releasing new digital product, because that would just slit our throats, However, at what point do they say, oh my God, we have an ability to make revenue if, like, let's say this goes on till, May or June, and they still have staff to pay. They still have, like, it's not just the creators, there's a whole bunch of support staff. So, like I said, the money has got to flow. So I think, the best thing people can do, if they're in a position to, reach out to your local comics, or whether it's via their email, their social media, their Twitter, their Instagram, give them a call. And if you're in a position, say, hey, can I buy a comic or two, whether it's new, whether it's old. Like I've had customers say, hey, Andre, I always love what you pick me out several books and just ship it to me and stuff like that. So at least, we have some income coming in. We can pay the supplier. The supplier then pays the publisher and stuff like that. So again, it's in a matter of if people are in the position to. There's a lot of people who've been laid off. A lot of people have had jobs, salaries cut. So of course, if you can't do it, you can't do it. But if there's any way that you can, and there's a lot of posts going around about people talking about other things you can do to support your favorite business, be it a restaurant, like as a comic store, or hobby store, or clothing store, whatever. A lot of it is just, hey, talk about your experience with that store on social media. Tweet out that, hey, this is my favorite rib place, and they're still doing takeout. And then maybe somebody in your group or your network says, oh, hey, Stuart recommended such and such a place. I'm going to check it out. It's keeping us in people's mindsets, keeping people thinking about these businesses, and just maybe that, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's a spiral effect, a ripple effect. Somebody says, oh yeah, I'm going to try out Heroes World. I've never been, but I'm in Scarborough. Maybe they can ship me some books, and we've been trying that, and it's worked out pretty decent. We've been doing comic book bundles, 20 comics for $20. And a lot of people have kids at home that need something to do. So, hey, it's a great time to check out something. We've got a lot of calls, people asking us for board games, right? So, it's all right.
No. Okay. So, but you guys know that all the conventions have now been either canceled or postponed. That's also for you guys.
San Diego Comic-Con just got canceled, right?
Yeah. So before it was Emerald City that was postponed, and we have the Toronto Comic-Con that happens, and the Toronto Fan Expo. So they are kind of different things that have been affected. What do you think are kind of the cascading effects of those events being either postponed or canceled?
I think they're going to have to do like video conference, like at when we log on and check out the E3 stuff. Like E3 was canceled too, right? So we were lined up to do a toy show in April, and that's been pushed back to September. We'll see if that even happens. So I guess they're just going to have to release all that information digitally, and maybe those companies will be like, hey, it's not bad. We don't have to show up next year. but I don't know. I know a lot of the San Diego exclusives, like they do a lot of exclusive toys and other merchandise, and I guess that's all going to have to go on their website now. It's probably already produced or being in production.
Yeah,
so that's going to come out, and I guess that'll be fun for some people that couldn't go to the show ever, and are now going to be able to get those exclusives and things online without having to wait in line or call a buddy.
And Hasbro, they opened up their collector. What's it called, John? Hasbro Pulse.
Hasbro Pulse, they were running that a little bit before, but now it's going to be like just filled with stuff.
Yeah. So we'll see. Like, I think that where it's going to potentially hurt the industry is that those were such media events. Those were San Diego. That was just the juggernaut. And it was,
Everyone would talk about it. Yeah.
everybody talks about it. The news covers it. So I think the comic industry could potentially lose that announcement base, right? And while people love the movies and the video games and etc., the comic end is like the ugly stepchild. It's the last. It's kind of like the lowest one. Sure, it's the one that
Built the
leads
foundation.
everything else, but it's the one that also is the lowest producer, meaning like every other industry makes more money from comic IPs than the comics themselves. So hopefully they can come back. I think, to be honest with you, I think this whole year is a write-off. I don't think we're going to see any con of any kind in 2020. Because even if they've pushed back so many, are people going to want to rush out again to something that's crowded for 100,000 people or 10,000 people or whatever? So I think the people that are going to get hurt are those artists, from Artist Alley that get to showcase their wares and hand sell something, not just from their particular webpage, because how do people find it? That's a struggle, right? So that's gonna hurt a lot of people who make their living from conventions. So I hope they'll be able to survive in some format. But an interesting thing too is I think that a lot of these conventions have run like all over, like you mentioned, the Toronto Comic Con, and of course San Diego. There's almost every major city has a Comic Con of some kind, and they do make money. And I just find it a little bit weird that we haven't really heard much about what they're doing to support local comic stores, et cetera, and stuff. And I think that would have been like a no-brainer, like comic stores are the ones that go and buy tables and advertise in their stores for these shows. And every comic store right now is hurting. So like, it would be nice to hear something from some of them say, hey, you know what, we're in your corner. We've set up this fund. We've all heard that Jim Lee's been drawing. He's going to do 60 sketches, and they're getting sold online for thousands, and he's raising money for all comic book stores, but it's U.S. only.
Comic stores.
Yeah, but at least he's doing that, and we've got I'm sporting my Lead Killer hat. Ken Lashley stepped up, and he just did the same thing. He was going to do it, but he found out that those auctions for that I don't remember the name of the charity, but it's only going to American comic stores. Like, no, he's going to pick a local comic store because he's a GTA guy, and his first sketch that he drew raised over $1,200 in a day. And God bless, like that's that's going to help a store immediately. And thanks to all the people who bid on that, like worldwide, because he put that on just on his network alone, his page of he calls them the Lead Killers, his fans, right? So yeah, I think if we're going to see more people step up and do stuff like that, but it can't just be the individuals. It's got to be like those conventions year after year. Comic stores have like I said, rented tables and been a draw, for it. So
I think it's your point is very interesting because E3, as John mentioned, it's moving more towards experiences rather than even because a lot of the big companies have pulled out of it, and the conventions rely on sponsors. And last couple of years, even at San Diego, Marvel didn't show up, and Warner Brothers maybe did something, maybe didn't do something. So it seems that this is just going to be more of a catalyst to see, maybe not everyone shows up every year. Disney already has D23, so it's like, well, we can do our own thing. So Nintendo doesn't do anything at all. It just does this online. So from that aspect, like this will be a drastic shift in all conventions going forward. It may be more of the artist alleys and less of that type of large interaction, because frankly, who will have maybe the money next year to do this all over again. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what happens in that aspect when it comes to the conventions, because
Well, also on that note, for San Diego, they're honoring your ticket. So if you keep your ticket, you're going to get in for next year. But they're also going to give you a refund. So I think that's good, because it is tough to get to San Diego. And man, I feel for all those people that they've gotten the lottery to get there, and this would have been their first time. And it does suck. Like, I've gone a couple of times, and it was fantastic. I wouldn't trade the experience for the world, but maybe it was great that I went then, because this could change the whole thing. And man, like, just think of San Diego itself. Like, that con is integral to that city's finances. Like, wow. So yeah.
But like I said before, it's just going to change a lot, because looking at kind of what happens next, whether it's everyone wearing a mask or social distancing there, like, it's going to be kind of a gradual progression back to business. The government here and also in the US have talked about, different approaches. In the US, it's 3 steps. For us, it's, I don't know what exactly that means. It means, restaurants at 50% capacity. For you guys, you don't have that issue of a number count of people in the store, but it's maybe, you guys have more hand sanitizer on site. People have to wear a mask. We're just
masks,
unsure.
Plexiglass barriers, whatever we need to do to keep people safe and be able to earn a living.
Yeah.
We're
change
up
or
to
die,
it.
right? We got to adapt, right? And
Mhm.
maybe that's it. Maybe they just put out, even more measures. Even if we had to do a social distancing thing, like, we're fortunate we got a parking lot. We could just say, hey, we're only letting 5 people in the store. And, oh, can you wait? Somebody's looking at the new releases. Do you mind just looking at the trades? And, we could section off the store a little bit better and stuff like that. Like I said, I think most people wouldn't mind chilling in their car or whatever for where we are. So I do understand that not every business has that, but I'm sure at this point every business would try something, right?
No,
So,
you
like,
guys are lucky. You have a lot of space to do the social distancing. As we all know, there are some stores or the rumors of stores which are so tight and packed together that people can't move. And if you are a bunch of people down there for or up there for a tournament or magic cards or whatever it is, like, it's packed.
Or any small venue,
So,
bubble tea place or something like that. Yeah, they're gonna, maybe only one customer comes in, where they have to install a takeout, like a barrier window. But let them operate.
Yeah. So speaking kind of at looking at how we're going to adjust going forward, there's a lot of rumors happening right now that there may be another granddaddy Marvel versus DC crossover event, just to kind of get people back together. We have a lot of already confrontation
Todd
between
McFarlane.
the two folks already. There's a lot of Marvel people and DC people that just don't seem to want to get along. But kind of after what we've seen, it's a chance for us to get along and to come together. So there's the rumors of this coming back, because it happened in the 90s, early 90s, I think, the crossovers.
I think it's the 20th anniversary of the first Marvel DC event, and then they did the other one, Marvel DC All Access.
So then, in terms of the All Access
when was JLA Avengers then? JLA Avengers, the George Perez thing?
That was after that, because that was their third. Well, technically, it's their 4th team up, if I believe, because remember they did the X-Men Teen Titans book way back in the day, but that was in the 80s, right? But I think for the modern take on the DC versus, it was DC versus Marvel, then the All Access, and then JLA Avengers. And I think JLA Avengers was late 90s.
Yeah.
Right.
So outside of the easy layups of JLA versus the Avengers or Batman versus Captain America, what are kind of out there thoughts from you two in regards to wacky, zany crossovers or something that'd be outside of the box? We did a few years ago on the podcast, we talked about switching characters from universe to universe. I talked
the
about
player trade.
player
Yeah.
trades. My dream was to have Nick Fury sent over to the DC universe for Doctor Fate, switching the two back and forth, because I think that DC.
So Nick Fury will run the Suicide Squad.
Nick Fury will just do whatever he needs to do. I think too many gods there. You need more competent humans. And then from the other side, magic is all about and not as, I guess, as integrated as in the Marvel universe than it is in DC. DC does have more magic users, so be interested to throw someone that has, if not the same strength as Doctor Strange, to kind of at least have a peer or someone interesting and to have them match mano a mano. Because
are you saying Brother
Voodoo? I was gonna say Brother Voodoo doesn't count. He's fine, but he's right out. You just took
No
a
love
shit
for
you.
you.
I love Wong. I love Brother Voodoo, but those guys are not the same tier. So from your two perspectives, whether it's a trade or a type of a different crossover, now that we've also seen some new heroes pop up since the 90s, what are your thoughts on something fun that they could do that they could switch back and forth?
I'm really loving Daredevil from Marvel right now, and Batman's kind of top dog at DC. So either having them team up or switch places would be fun. And just like a fun thing that they could do that might have some interesting bits to write is taking a leader or some type of main character from one team or book and switching them, like switch a Cyclops with a Superman or something like that, and have Cyclops try to lead Justice League or something just bizarre like that, like a clash of, almost like the rom-com, the de facto rom-com. One of the formulas is the clash of cultures. So you like take one person out of their element and dump them into like another team, and it's like, oh, what the hell? I got access to a Superman and a Batman. What am I going to do with these guys? Or vice versa, or like Superman or whoever you consider the leader of the Justice League, Superman typically, but everyone says Batman is really leading the team. Give him a bunch of X-Men and it's like, what do I do with these guys? Where's my Superman? Where's my Trump? Like that type of thing. I think that would be like a fun thing that you could write if you wanted to do something fun. Serious would be more the Batman Daredevil working together or something like that. I know everyone says Batman Captain America, but I don't know. I think Daredevil and Batman are, like
Batman
really close.
Daredevil. How cool would that be if Bruce Wayne gets charged for something, and Matt Murdock has to defend Bruce Wayne, and he knows Bruce Wayne didn't do it because Batman and Daredevil were fighting on the rooftop. That'd be really cool.
And Daredevil's hearing his client out going,
right?
"Hey,
that'd be pretty sick. That'd be pretty sick. We'd tap Chip Zdarsky to write that.
Oh, he would kill it.
Yeah. So I think one of my favorite books lately, and for the past little while, has been Batman: The White Knight, where Joker is basically kind of screwed over Batman and Gotham and stuff like that. And one of our good regulars, they made a suggestion, and they said, what if you took, instead of Batman versus this Joker, do Moon Knight versus the Joker? Because this book is all about people, and their different mentalities. And in that White Knight book, is Joker's got the split persona of the Joker, and as well as his regular persona. And we know Moon Knight is schizophrenic and stuff. So I think that would be a pretty cool one to do that's off the beaten path. And I would still tap Sean Murphy to do it because he does a wicked take on Batman. I'd love to see what his Moon Knight would look like.
In terms of switcheroony, Andre, is there anyone that you want to throw back and forth if this was...
I think the cool thing about both Marvel and DC is they do have like very, very similar characters and stuff. I would love a book where Deadpool gets transported to the DC universe and just gets his ass kicked every time. Just every time he'd be like, oh, I'm going to go take out this person. And then the Arsenal just beats him down. Red Hood just beats him down. Green Arrow just beats him down. Just because like Deadpool in that situation, he wouldn't stand a chance against half of DC's people. And I think that would be kind of fun. Like, as much as people love Deadpool, I just think he's just so over the top, and I think he needs to get put in his place a little bit. He's always, Deadpool kills the Marvel universe. Deadpool, man, Deadpool would just cry and hide if he was in the DC universe.
I don't know. Ryan Reynolds might jump on you there. Deathstroke and Daredevil. I mean, Deathstroke and Deadpool, maybe.
Not even a contest.
What if you switched them around and Deathstroke was all of a sudden in Marvel Universe, and people were like, "Hey, dude, why is Deadpool so serious now?"
But see, that's the thing. I think if you put Deathstroke in the MCU, like that again, Deathstroke like took out the whole JLA and Identity Crisis. Like Deathstroke would look at Bullseye and he'd be like, "You're done." He'd recruit Frank Castle and he'd probably bed Elektra. You know what I mean? Like that. Deathstroke's the man. Like that.
I don't know. Taskmaster says something different about that.
No, dude, no way. Listen, that would be a good match. But
Taskmaster would be like, I think I got this.
Taskmaster could mimic his moves, but remember, Slade uses 90% of his brain. He would figure out what Taskmaster is doing and set him up to fail.
When that Black Widow movie drops,
I think we've already decided that the MCU is not the 616. So I think we have to make a different in scale when it comes to the Marvel universe. Just like the Arrowverse isn't the DC universe.
Yes.
If that was,
I'm not talking Deathstroke from the Arrowverse for sure.
Because that guy, yeah, Deathstroke from the Arrowverse. If I'm using that against Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool, then forget about it. Deadpool's gonna beat his butt down every single time.
Yeah,
that's not even a fair comparison. So it's DC's, most of them are essentially gods. So it wouldn't necessarily be a fair fight if you threw any of them into the MCU, because pretty much everyone can lift million pounds of tons of materials and throw it across the universe without even thinking twice. So even Thor would have trouble. So,
but I think, on the serious note of this topic is, if Marvel and DC are not in talks, or like Todd McFarlane said he'd step up and do that, if he was serious. Okay.
Please tell everyone what Todd
we're talking about.
Yeah, Todd McFarlane.
Let's do that, because let's not assume everyone knows what Todd McFarlane. Yeah. Outside of him saying the Spawn movie is going to happen, and don't worry, I got this. Me and Jamie Foxx are going to make it happen. But tell me outside of what's going on.
Todd McFarlane in an interview said he would consider doing a Spider-Man Spawn crossover in order to help the industry, because he's like, this is a cataclysmic event for the comic industry, and he's like, if steps aren't taken, the whole industry changes as we know it. And this is a guy who, he's made his mark, and since he's drawn Spawn, he has not gone back to do like anything, and he said he never would. So for him to be out there saying he would do it, like if he would put his money where his mouth is, I think that's a serious conversation that needs to happen. Whether or not he draws the whole thing, he could draw. Yeah, there we go. Look at that, right? He would draw the cover at least, maybe write it. That things of that caliber need to happen, because what would happen then if anybody who collected any McFarlane stuff or any Spawn stuff, so I'm talking people going back to the 90s, they might come back to a comic store to get that book. Just like all the people who, if you did a DC versus Marvel or DC and Marvel series again, that is excitement generating. That's bring non-comic fans and comic fans to the shops. But the key thing for me is that book would have to be timely, and it would have to be the best creators. You couldn't just be, here's a cover by, so-and-so, and the interiors are by somebody we've never seen. It has to be
Todd McFarlane and
Greg Capullo on part, or it's got to be recognizable names, so that people who haven't been in the industry for a while, or just industry best, they've got to put their differences aside and do something like this for the stores. Because again, you guys remember when Iron Man 1 came out and they did a comic book, and it was written by Jon Favreau and art was by Adi Granoff. And this came out, literally the first issue came out the same week or a week before. And the first two issues came out on time. Okay. And I remember that because we had a ton of new people come into the store, just saw the Iron Man movie, loved it. And I'm like, oh, hey, here's this comic book written by the same guy and drawn by the guy who did all the concept. And we sold a ton of those. That series never ended. So all those
To this
people
day.
came to the store, yeah, to this day, it never ended.
To this
Yeah.
All
day.
the people that came to the store, they came first month, second month, third month, fourth month, and then stopped coming.
Mhm.
Because they failed to make that connection that every time they wanted a particular book, they didn't come in. I'm going to talk about another book that just came out recently, the Spider-Man book written by J.J. Abrams and his son. First book on time, second book on time, third book, nowhere to be seen. And these were books that were bringing in people who were J.J. Abrams fans and not comic book fans.
He did sign that $500 million deal, so
Yeah,
it was
listen,
hard for him to,
there was no reason for
bounce
that
out.
book to be
Yeah.
released until it should have been done 100%, because it's not a book that fits into the timeline. So what I'm saying is, if you're going to have a big name attached to it, a celebrity name, or do a project, you need to be consistent and get that thing out so people are used to, they form a habit of coming to the comic store on the release date of that book. So that's all I'm saying. If Marvel and DC could come together this one time and say, hey guys, we've used our coronavirus downtime, we've written a script, and we've got 2 books coming out. One's DC versus Marvel, one's Marvel versus DC, or whatever. And we've got Spider-Man Spawn, and we've got Spawn Spider-Man. So at least
Hey, how does DC get into Spawn Spider-Man? Did McFarlane ever do anything for DC?
Yeah, remember, John, don't you remember we ordered that Spawn Batman book, and it was going to come with an action figure and a hardcover.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was I can't remember the
So
date.
Batman.
But it was Batman Spawn. And
So Batman Spawn Spider-Man. Whoa.
Yeah, but listen, anything that would bring people back and maybe make people just remember how cool and how much they love comics. There's a lot of people who can't collect comics anymore. Life happens. They've got kids. They've moved away, different jobs, whatever. But people would be like, oh, wow, I got to get that book. Like, yeah, even if
one book a year.
Even if it's just Superman versus Thor or Wonder Woman versus, whoever, Captain Marvel. Just people want to see that. Or at the very least, they could put back into print JLA Avengers, The Trade, and DC versus Marvel. Those books have been out of print for too long, and it's a great series, and you wouldn't necessarily find them, or if you found them now, you'd be paying big bucks. So I know, I think we'd have a ton of customers who'd want to buy at least JLA Avengers and DC versus Marvel, the original ones.
Yeah, I'm getting fuzzy as my memory fades as to Aquaman versus Submariner, how that worked. I think someone threw a whale on someone else.
Yeah.
It was Namor. I think it was Arthur Curry won because he figured that Namor, spoiler alert, was too much of a Boy Scout, so he just threw a whale on him, and that's how he won.
Was it fan decided? It was fan decided back then?
I think it was. I think it was phone calls. Yeah. But
I can't imagine that people would vote for Aquaman over more than Namor the Submariner. But
don't you remember all those crossover books that happened? Like they had Bruce Wayne, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all of those wicked things. Like again, there's a whole thing. They had Superboy and Spider-Boy crossing things. You could do Young Justice and Champions right now.
They had a Wolverine, Captain America hybrid. Yeah, it was weird.
They could just, again, like I know people would want their regular books, but if they just said, okay, yeah, we're putting all regular titles on hold. This summer is the summer of DC versus Marvel, and maybe that helps us crawl out of the debt we're going to acquire for being closed for a couple of months.
Can we not get Spider-Man to show up in Saga and just like randomly walk in the background and just wave, just be like, "Hi, everybody," and then just walk away and be like, "Oh, Spider-Man's in Saga," or maybe bring Wolverine and The Walking Dead and fix the problems. That'd be
Dark Claw.
Oh my God, somewhere truly a hit and somewhere truly a miss. Oh man, let's, to your point, Andre, let the creative juices flow. Go wild, do something different. I'm not even concerned too much about the big players doing those 6-off titles, because this is all one-offs, like one-shots. I'm all kind of do those type of experiences and get people to buy a new book.
Yeah,
I know
big crossover. and maybe even the title lineups, like we've been saying this for the longest time, they tighten up their lines to make sure every book is good, less titles, more quality. It's what's happening. What's going to happen when they relaunch, because they're going to have to push all the stuff aside that wasn't top billing.
So Marvel and DC, how many titles were each churning out? I know DC's goal was always.
Who knows now?
Who knows now? I think
the dream was 52, but clearly I don't know if they're at 52 titles at one point.
So I think there was a stat from, I think in January of this year, and it was like Marvel had released like 117 titles. DC's way less, and DC has been making a note to not have as many titles, but they have been creeping back up. Image, the publisher of Image, basically just said, yeah, you know what, the industry has too many books, and he's said they were turning down projects from key creators because they're like, we already have enough sci-fi books coming out and stuff like that. So it might just become that each company has to tighten up and be like, well, if the unfortunate happens and a lot of stores close because of this, that's less books being sold because there's less orders coming in. You know, I don't think, like, let's say there's 3,000 comic stores, you know, in North America. Even if 1,000 of them close, I don't think the others get that, pick up that customer base. You know, inevitably, if a store closes, some people will be like, yeah, I guess I stopped collecting comics because I really like the store, or I was collecting comics because of the store. I like the relationship. Or some of the people like, I can't collect comics now because, you know, I'm back to a single income family and stuff, right? So I think the line is going to tighten up, you know, just because of that, and it's in their best interests to do it. So yeah, maybe it does suck that, you know, we might not have the variety of titles, but let's face it, like John said, there's some books that just don't sell a lot, and even though it's part of hitting a target market, you know, like
even some of those books are good. Some of those books are solid, and they just can't.
They just can't make it, you know.
Hold.
But that's true with everything, right? Whether it's movies or music, there are a lot of great artists and a lot of great films. Just there's not enough time in the world, and if you don't have that weird rolling bass, you're just dead on arrival.
Yeah. So even right now for DC for month, there's no Green Arrow comic. You know, Green Arrow's not published by DC, and man, that had a TV show for all those years. Green Arrow is a legacy character, you know, and Black Canary, you know, so it's one of those things that sometimes you got to make that decision just based on sales and stuff. You know, on that front, I think Arrow should have been put in the JLA and stuff like that. But you know, we'll see. You know, I
could, based on the fact that TV show, you can't have him in the Justice League.
Yeah, I want the industry to survive, man. I love comics, and I just think that they have to put their they have to put their differences aside and their egos aside. And if Marvel thinks that, oh, we're big enough to carry the industry, or if DC thinks, yeah, we don't need the other and stuff, no, we're gonna find out right now how tight and small this family really is. Like, you know, people think, oh yeah, there's conventions all over, but it's literally a fragile family, and if you don't help your brother-in-law who could be potentially, you know, on the street, then you're not worth anything.
Well, speaking of that now, supporting and helping out, what can people kind of do to help you guys at this standpoint with what's happening right now?
John, you wanna?
Well, if you already follow us on a lot of our social media and stuff like that, we'll be posting whatever we can if we're doing pickups or shipping out to you if you're a little further out. And then I guess just the call when we're allowed to reopen. You know, calling all cars to, you know, clear out pull bins, pick up an extra thing if you can. You know, a lot of people are going to be in different positions, so and you know, it's tough to say.
Yeah, I think another thing people can do is, like, you know, if you love comics and you love your comic store, whether it's, you know, for us, but like, you know, even just use your social media and say, you know, hey, favorite book that Heroes World recommended to me, favorite model I bought from Heroes World, you know, tag our store, let people know that you're into this stuff, you love it, and you got it from us, or support your other local store. You know, if somebody's, you know, watching this video and they, you know, they're not near us, or you know, whatever, you know, just get it in the mindset, you know, if you're on Facebook, say, hey, yeah, this is my favorite thing, or, you know, just talk about us, and support us that way. Like, honestly, like, we understand that you might not have money, but if you said, hey, you know what, this was my go-to place and the guys there are great, they showed my kid how to play Pokemon, my kid's 15 now, he still remembers that, or, you know, I painted my first Warhammer model there, or you know, just anything, because somebody might be like, yeah, I'm looking for something to do. That place, like, a recommendation is worth so much right now, you know, and it's just, that's a simple, free, not of much of time, and again, props right now to every one of our people, our regulars, who are sharing all our Facebook posts right now, and they're saying, hey, go to these guys, talk to these guys, call these guys, you know, and stuff, and kudos for that, because it, you know, if everybody shared it or talked about it, and even one other person, like, it's, you know, we could do it in other stores, I think, and again, I keep saying stores, but it's restaurants, it's,
Yeah.
you know, people who do art lessons, people who are, you know, teachers of you know, piano and things like that. Talk about what you're doing and what you want to get back to, or stuff, you know, and that would, it helps so immensely, you know, and maybe put that little bit of fear aside, that, oh, I don't want people to know that I'm into this stuff. No, man, people want to know. They want to know happy things right now, you know, like right now I'm rereading a lot of my Star Wars expanded universe stuff to make me happy, and stuff, because yeah, we're all inside. We miss our friends, we miss our family, we miss our routines. So do something that's happy. If John and myself in the store has made you happy at some point, maybe share that memory, and we'll, chances are we remember it too, and we'll comment on that post and stuff, and you know, it really it would really do a lot, and it would make us feel good too.
Great. So just double checking, what is your social media channels, John, just to let us clarify again where you guys are at?
Okay, so Facebook, if you search Heroes World, or I believe it's Facebook, whatever / Heroes World Online. And then we do have heroesworldonline.com, HEROES world. And then
that's where I got this picture
and Twitter,
in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so fancy. He's at the store. We're not even at the store right now.
So yeah, the website, Facebook, those are the two main channels that they can find you to.
Yeah, you can email us to sales.heroesworld@gmail.com.
Oh, and also, if you want, there's some classic videos on our YouTube channel, which is also Heroes World Online, and we are going to be working to get some new stuff up there. But we got some funny stories, some funny videos there, some videos where we talk about different you know, trade paperback, comic book new release week. So if you're missing new releases, maybe click on one of those weekly videos and stuff. We got a lot of unboxings, John showing you how to paint or do stuff with video game joysticks and stuff. So there's still a lot to maybe hear our voices and stuff
That's awesome. So typically I would say come in the store, but that's not possible. So please go onto the online channels to watch the videos, and we'll be doing more podcasts and video chats going forward to kind of, there's lots of news that we want to share and talk about, but
there's room for like another person or two.
There might be a guest star, another person joining, but till the next time, I want to thank everyone for watching and listening, and please be safe, and till next time, see you guys later.
Yes, and thank you for Stu for setting this up for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.